Sam, can you please tell us about the SAP HANA solution and why it's such an interesting and important product?
Thank you, Sean, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to the practice, depending on what time zone you're in when you're looking at this. HANA, it's a very interesting new product presented by SAP, and I guess the best way to introduce it is by utilizing an example. Suppose you're part of an organization that does business globally, and you have introduced a brand new product line that might be of key importance to the organization. I can think of an iPhone 4 or iPhone 5 model being launched by Apple just this week. So you have been tasked by the organization to know how the sales are progressing in a particular area, let's say the West Coast. With HANA, you're able to produce a report that ordinarily would take probably days to craft and gather the data and put it together in a meaningful way. You can reduce that time frame to just basically minutes to generate the report and pull data from the last sale that occurred, let's say, in a store in West LA in the last 30 seconds. So it brings the very actual analytics to the organization, right? So exactly what is HANA? Right? HANA, or a High Performance Analytical Appliance, which is their standard name from SAP, it's a data warehouse tool for processing high volumes of transactional data, as we mentioned, real time. It uses random access memory rather than storage devices to store the data. And the solution, it's a combination of hardware and software. So it always utilizes specialized hardware from SAP value-added partners. The product has been in availability since last August, so it will be a product that will be mentioned more by our clients and will be an option as we move forward. So why is it so important? So as we can all attest, today's ERP systems can collect vast amounts of data. We all know that anything that you put in ECC, it's stored forever. So yet the analytical tools seem to lag a little bit behind all that storing power, right? And it seems to be slow and cumbersome. I'm sure that this has happened to some of you, but when I showcase or do a class on BI, the tool seems to be quite a bit slow in getting the data that's needed. Also, IT departments are under continual pressure to access these data all in real time and ever faster. And like somebody said one time, that if you ask the question and you get the answer a week from now, you probably forgot what your question was to begin with. So last but not least, big data. It's currently the fastest growth area in the field. And as we will present in a little bit, you'll see that there's a lot of players in that arena, and everybody is vying to produce a better mousetrap or product, if you will. So how does it work without getting really technical, because this is not intended to be an IT session. But basically, it's a database that can be installed without really disturbing your current landscape. So as you can see in the graph, the HANA database, it's stored or placed on top of the existing database, and it utilizes BI as the output tool or the infrastructure that's currently used. So the beauty of this architecture is that connectivity with BI makes users already familiar with the tool. So they don't really need to know how HANA works, because it really works the way that they're already familiarized with. So just the important piece to remember here is that it's a separate in-memory database that it's constantly replicating from the regular database that's available. So who needs this? Right now, there's several factors that determine whether an organization can benefit from this. As you can imagine, being an SAP product, it's not cheap. So we'll talk a little bit about the cost, but the people that would benefit more from this would be organizations that need faster business intelligence reporting. The example that I gave at the beginning, it's one clear example of critical data that they need immediately. HANA would be an ideal solution for them. If they're also interested in saving disk space, because HANA does have some very interesting compression capabilities that would make a database much smaller eventually, this would be an excellent solution for them. And also, if the organization needs database technologies that need to keep pace with ever faster changing needs or requirements, HANA it's much more nimble and allows the organization to produce reporting that would be much faster and consume much more efficiently. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this slide, we also need to consider the implementation costs versus the benefits that we highlighted. So SAP alternatives, SAP itself had produced something prior to HANA, which they call the BI Accelerator appliance. So there are some subtle differences between that and HANA. The accelerator does not provide the same capabilities because it's not applied to the entire database. So you have to define what sets of data do you want the accelerator to work on. For example, in the sales area or the materials management, but it does not encompass all the data points within your database. And also there's additional effort required to replicate the data. So there's significant infrastructure updates that needs to be done before the accelerator can be used. As I mentioned earlier, this is becoming a very crowded field, and as you can see, Oracle, SAS, IBM, and others are coming up with their products that could be used as HANA alternatives. So as we get more, into the HANA world of big analytics or big data, what they call, you will be seeing or hearing from some of these, providers on their options. Right. So, what is the cost? The article that I put together gives much more detailed representations of how you can calculate an approximate measure of how much it would cost to install HANA. But let's just say that HANA is measured by a term called HANA units. And then the cost depends on, obviously, how many HANA units are needed for it to support your existing database and future needs. Then SAP sells licenses that can be purchased for both the Edge and NetWeaver editions. And typically the cost that it's provided to the end user includes the cost of the hardware as well. As we know, not every server can support that technology. So it would be a comprehensive cost presentation. So the reason why we're going over what is HANA and how it can benefit the organizations, because how it relates to you, what is in it for you. Right. So as change and training practitioners, we need to be aware of these new technologies coming up. So at least we're able to socialize the terms and the concepts with the client. And some of us might be involved in a project very soon that will integrate HANA. It's kind of interesting because just last week I was in Boeing helping with the kickoff. And when SAP got up to present, one of the items that they presented in the possible landscape was in-memory computing. They didn't call it HANA, but it was very clearly stated that it was in-memory computing. So the product it's definitely appearing very fast in the landscape. So it's good for us to know what this is all about, right? And also, the new technology might bring the need for some specialized training or role development in the future. So just keep that in mind. So if you are interested in finding a little more about HANA, there's several places that you can go. One of them, it's obviously SAP. They have a vested interest in getting HANA up and running as fast as possible. So they have put several websites that can give you a lot of information. One of them is sap.com/HANA. There's also sapignite.com/what is SAP-HANA, as well as other places. Good places for additional sources of information also are YouTube, CDNet, IBM, Fujitsu, the hardware suppliers also are showcasing the solution. So those will be great sources of information. So with this, I believe we conclude the presentation. Sean, send it back to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.